Happy New Year, one and all. Hope everyone had a great holiday season. Today we are going to talk about everything I watched in the month of December. All right, we kicked things off with Nothing Underneath from 1985. I bought this from Vinegar Syndrome when I was in LA for a con. So I finally sat down and watched it. It was really, really good. Again, these 80s Jolly are always they're just good. I mean, they don't have the same feel as 60s and 70s Jolly, but they really make me happy. So Nothing Underneath is about this guy whose twin sister is a model working in Milan. And she goes missing, and the twin has this like vision of her getting murdered. So he flies over there to try and find her. And Donald Pleasance is like the lead police officer on this case. It's just really fun. Really, really beautiful people. I thought it was really like a perplexing mystery. Like I couldn't quite figure out who the killer was gonna be or anything like that. It had a lot of Argento style moments and Argento style tension, and the ending was very 80s, but it worked. It was good. We're back to it. Black Christmas from 2006. This was my second watch. I talked about it a little bit last month because I tried to watch it and had to quit, but I made it all the way through in December, and I feel very conflicted about this movie. I know most people are like, fuck that movie, like what? But I think that now that 20 years have passed, almost, people are looking at it more as a historical piece. You know, they're looking at it now with this like 2000s nostalgia. So I love the characters, love the house. I already said all this, but the antagonist and what they do and how they do things is just freaking stupid, and I just can't deal. The first time I watched this, I think it was 2 years ago, I gave it a pretty generous rating, but this time I'm like 2 stars out of 5. No. And what I ended up saying here at the bottom of my Letterboxd review is that everything I like about Black Christmas 2006 is also done by Sorority Row 2009. Except Sorority Row 2009 doesn't piss me off. So I'm just gonna go with Sorority Row. Next up was Too Beautiful to Die from 1988, and this was in the same pack as Nothing Underneath. So these two were paired together in a set. The guy that I bought it from said that Nothing Underneath is like the fashion model movie, and Too Beautiful to Die is the music video movie. And I was like, that sounds great. Now, when he said music video, Giallo, I thought about Fatal Frames. And admittedly, the music video segments in Fatal Frames, like, it's kind of cheesy. Like, I'm not really into the whole pop star thing, but hey, even so, that's one of my favorite movies, so you never know. So, Too Beautiful to Die, it's another movie about a group of models and just like the world of modeling and kind of like the dark underbelly involved. So it's about these models and their agent and their director. They're shooting a music video. They're like actors and dancers in the music video. And, well, there's a killer that's killing them all off one by one. And it's just freaking awesome. It is so badass. Like, Too Beautiful to Die is even better than Nothing Underneath. I just loved it. And it had so many, like, I feel like this is one just for the slasher fans in general. Like, it's kind of beyond the flavor of Giallo. It's just something for the broader horror audience, and it's just gorgeous. It must have had a big budget because these sets, like the music video set is so cool. The weapons are so cool. I love the actors and how they are cast. It's just fantastic. And the film is shot, the whole film is shot like a music video, so it's shot very like experimentally, very, very artistically. And there's even this like lapse in like logic. It's kind of dreamlike sometimes because you're like, wait, how do we get here? Who are these people? But once you kind of like get comfortable into like the trajectory and how things are presented to you, it really becomes a fun ride. This is a great movie. Okay, next was a Hammer film, one that Brian sent me. I just wanted something very cozy. And you kind of know a lot of these like classic films are going to have a cozy vibe. So I went for The Mummy, 1959. This has Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. What would you call them? The dream team? I don't know. I call this film adorable. It's about archaeologists in Egypt who uncover a tomb that at that point had only been a legend. And they basically disturbed some things that should not have been disturbed. So after a few years' time, Mummy is seeking vengeance on the archaeologists who disturbed the area. Christopher Lee is playing the Mummy, and I never noticed how freaking huge he is, really. It was just a great use for his body. And it was interesting to see him act with his eyes and his body language. Which, you know, he kind of was doing that in his Dracula roles as well, but this was very different, and he did really well. And then Peter Cushing is, you know, playing the good scholarly main character man, and he does great as well. There's like one woman in this movie, but that's okay. I thought it was fun. Like it was just like, it's a chill movie, and maybe that's like a given. This is 1950s horror, so it's not like the flashiest, but I thought it was a really good watch. I thought it was comfy, just worth it for our lead characters, our lead actors. Okay, next, my friend Sky, who has been on this channel a long time ago, Sky came over, and she wants to like see more Jolly and like get a better taste of the genre. She's the one that showed me Suspiria in the first place, but she hasn't explored Giallo, not really. So we watched The Case of the Bloody Iris, and I'm really glad that this is the one I decided to show her because it was one of the films that won me over to the genre. And I think it's a great example of Edwidge. Sky loved it, and as always, just a great time to watch. The bathtub scene with Jennifer's roommate, what's her name, Marilyn? The bathtub scene with Marilyn, Sky was like, can we watch that again? Like, so we rewound it and watched it again. And that's so funny because I do the same thing. And I just have to tell you this crazy coincidence. I get done watching Case of the Bloody Iris. Sky leaves my home. And then I get a message from Celluloid Dreams, like just wanting to say hello and talk about the fact that they are putting out Case of the Bloody Iris on Blu-ray 4K. Is that not weird? Like, that's the same day. Like, I didn't even post I was watching the movie. Like, that's weird. Anyway, so if you didn't catch it in my last video, there's a new label called Celluloid Dreams. Their first release is going to be a 4K Blu-ray of Case of the Bloody Iris. Blu-ray, 4K, Ultra HD. Check that out. I'll have their info here on the screen. Next, you know, it's December, so we watched Home Alone. Can't go wrong. And then I watched Lady Frankenstein from 1971. Brian sent this to me on DVD. I've just been feeling some of those more like classic monster vibes lately. Some nights, like I just want something kind of easy, you know? And I've had my eye on Lady Frankenstein because I've read that that's Rosalba Neri's like most famous role. Now, what was I expecting? I was expecting it to be something akin to a Hammer film, you know? Nothing too crazy, but I'm just excited to see what the hubbub was about, you know? So this film exceeded my expectations by far. This is an Italian horror, and it's 1971, so it's really pushing further than what I've seen from Hammer films so far. So it's pretty twisted, pretty dark, creepy, disturbing, But I loved this movie. I think I want to do a dedicated review on it, so hopefully I can get one of those whipped up for you. But Rosalba is just, she's so interesting because there's something about her that is so comforting, yet she's so like cold-blooded. Like she always plays these really cold-blooded women and it's just terrifying. And there's like one scene in the film that was like straight up disturbing. I was like, oh my God. It was just really good. I loved it. The outfits, her outfits are so good. Like this film is what I wanted Frankenstein Creative Woman to be for me. Like when I put in Frankenstein Creative Woman, this is the feeling that I wanted to be served, okay? So Lady Frankenstein was freaking awesome. I would highly recommend. It had all the atmosphere, it had all the horror elements, and it just kicked ass. Next up, we watched Home Alone 2, as you do. Woo! Next, I watched The House That Screamed from 1969. Brian sent me this on Blu-ray, and this movie has been on my radar, but I couldn't remember why until I put it in and realized it has Christina Galbo in it, who is from What Have You Done to Solange and The Killer Must Kill Again. And I love her, so I was so excited to see her sweet little young face. This is a Spanish film, and it is set, it's a period piece, but it's cool though. And it is set in an all-girls boarding school. Need I say more? It was really interesting because it was super immersive and engaging. I am in this school with them. I am leaning on everyone's every word, soaking up every detail, enjoying all the outfits. But overall, it was kind of a slow burn. There wasn't as much payoff as I was expecting for the weight of everything. So some movies kind of go like this, like they'll gradually get more and more momentum to reach the climax. And then this one just kind of went like this and then got to the climax and went boop, and then it was over. Not exactly the kind of payoff I like to see, yet the movie really like stuck in my mind. I think it was really memorable, and I loved the casting and the characters, and the overall setting was just really cool. So it's like I have to sit with this some more, but it was really a memorable watch. Next up is Nightmare Beach from 1989. Yes, I'm finally watching it. Team Kagan gave this to me on Blu-ray when I was visiting LA. This takes place in Florida during spring break. These 80s jolly, at times it's like they can barely be classified as jolly, but that's not really what I'm concerned with, because the film was really fun. It was chaotic, but in the best way. Just like music going all the time. There are these spring breakers running amok. There's a biker gang causing trouble, and the cops are just like breathing out everyone's throat. Shout out to John Saxon being in this movie. He added so much to the film. Zach watched it with me. We had a lot of fun trying to guess who the killer was. After a certain point, there's really not many options left, and it becomes sort of obvious, but it was really a fun time. And I think it went well with the other two 80s jolly I watched, Too Beautiful to Die and Nothing Underneath. I think they all kind of go well together. Okay, next, Sky had so much fun watching Case of the Bloody Iris. She wanted to come over again and watch more. So we watched Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward and All the Colors of the Dark. I tried to advise against watching the two back to back because, especially for a first timer, it can be easy to get the two kind of like confused and like blended together because it's like the same three characters in both movies, the same three actors. But she wanted to do it, and honestly I think it was a good experience, at least for me, because it helped me to like compare and contrast the two. And I'm thinking that I might do like an ultimate showdown. Which one's better, Strange Vice or All the Colors? But she loved them both. She is an Edwige fan for sure now. Next for our watch party, our friend Kelly Coltz friend and moderator Kelly Colt chose Contamination from 1980. I've never heard of this, but it's a Kotze film, and it's kind of like a sci-fi. I guess that's how it can best be described, as a sci-fi. It was really a really cool concept. I loved the beginning. I loved the end. I love the contamination. I love the body horror, and all the intense moments of the film were great. I feel like the middle was kind of like meandering a little bit, like it felt slow. However, I was doing chat in the watch party and having some wine, so like maybe my attention got drawn away. My battery just died, so if anything looks different than it did a second ago, that's why. Anyway, Kelly also told me that the lead female role was intended for Caroline Munro, and ever since I realized that, while looking at the woman they cast instead, I was just like, I want Caroline. But it was still a fun movie. It was a fun watch. I kind of wish the casting had been a little different for some of these characters, and that we got a little bit more body horror, maybe, but it was a fun movie. Okay, and then finally, this was last night. It was New Year's Eve, and Zach was like, well, we should watch a New Year's Eve movie. And last year we watched New Year's Evil, so I was like, well, what other New Year's Eve movies are there? So we started Googling, and we watched some trailers for a few, and they were all horrible. I was like, I'm not watching that. That looks terrible, and not in a good way. And then we found this movie called The Eve, which I swear, like, only like 5 people have reviewed on Letterboxd. I don't know. It was on Tubi. It's from 2015, The Eve. And it was about this group of 4 people who go to a remote cabin just to spend New Year's. And there's a killer. People start dying. And they become stranded out there, you know. And when I watched the trailer, I was like, it kind of, I don't know, it looks like there's a lot of love, like a lot of heart in this movie. Like, it looks like it was a love, passion project, you know what I'm saying? And that was the trailer I was least mad at. So we watched The Eve. I haven't read anything about it, but it seemed to be like a pretty low budget endeavor. But the actors did seem experienced. The story was very like character driven, very dialogue driven. So it was engaging in that way, but I think ultimately it was lacking atmosphere and it was lacking tension and action. There's not a lot going on in terms of horror, so it ultimately feels like more of a drama, but it wasn't terrible. Didn't have pizzazz. You know, not like New Year's Evil, for example. Okay, that's everything I watched. Let's take a little look back. I would say my favorite things were Too Beautiful to Die and Lady Frankenstein. But there were several good watches in there. Let me know what you watched in December. Let me know if you have a New Year's resolution or something. And for the next video, like, I know I've been doing a bunch of easy videos lately, so for the next video I'm hoping to do maybe a review of Lady Frankenstein, or maybe the like ultimate showdown between Strange Vice and All the Colors. And let me know, like, if you have a very specific recommendation, like a request, let me know in the comments. I do keep track of your requests on this running list, but I just feel like I need some sort of like a kick in the ass or something. I don't know, so let a hoe know down below. Also, this is probably the appropriate time to tell you, I'm going to Rome. I'm going to Rome, Italy. Yeah, this month. So you may see a lapse in the videos I put out while I am preparing to Rome, being in Rome, and coming home from Rome. If I come home. I don't think I'm gonna vlog that because I want to enjoy it, but we'll see what I do. But I'll have pictures for you and I'll tell you all about it. Don't worry. I got you, girl. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Happy New Year. Thank you for being here, and ciao for now.